Right now at 4, we're taking a live look along the National Mall where the March for Israel is happening as we speak. Organizers say they're focused on 3 calls for action here. First, to support Israel. Second, to fight against anti-Semitism. And lastly, for Hamas to release hostages. Thank you for joining us for the news at 4. I'm Simone D'Alba. Adam Longo is joining us from First Street near Capitol Hill, where there's a lot happening there tonight as well. From a hearing on the FBI headquarters to a looming government shutdown and, of course, the march, there are a lot of moving pieces here. Adam, good evening.
Hi, Simone. Good evening to you. Let's talk about those 2 big stories that we are following here live in front of the Capitol along the National Mall. The first, of course, this massive rally here on the National Mall, the rally for Israel, the rally for the Jewish folks who have come from all corners of the country. They are gathered on the mall right now, and we are here to get their stories. We're here to talk to the people involved. We are also getting the story about the heavy security that was brought to bear today. We're talking about any counter protests or problems that may have materialized. We are also talking about where I spent the good part of my day over here on the U.S. Capitol complex. So we are talking about a major hearing today in front of the House Oversight Committee dealing with the FBI. Of course, the decision was made on Wednesday night of last week that the FBI headquarters would be situated in Greenbelt, Maryland, but a lot of anger and consternation from the folks in Virginia about that decision. The agency in charge of making that decision and putting together the process by which Greenbelt was chosen, the agency director, the commissioner of the GSA, was in front of Congress today, and she was questioned, and there were a lot of answers that she needed to deliver to some very unhappy lawmakers. So we will cover that story as well in just a moment. But first, we have to take you through the big news story of the day, and that is what is unfolding here on the National Mall. Of course, we're going to be bringing you live team coverage from WUSA 9 on this story here throughout this momentous afternoon. We'll be talking about the how we've been out here since the past 5 hours. Our crews are embedded with some folks there along the National Mall. First, though, we want to bring you to the very latest on the war that's developing right now between Israel and Hamas. So we'll be able to check in with our Larry Miller back in the studio to bring us up to speed on that. Larry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. So let's talk about the 3 things that you need to know at this hour. One of the big things is the standoff at Gaza's largest hospital continuing. The hospital surrounded by Israeli troops. Israel says it's a legitimate military target because Hamas uses that facility as a command center. They allege a network of tunnels underneath the hospital. Israel has yet to provide any proof to those allegations. Meantime, Palestinians say any innocent civilians are dying at a place that should be protected by war. Second, that same hospital nearing collapse. Doctors are working with no power. Healthcare workers say several patients, including some premature babies, have died. There's a race underway to save others. Israel's military says is trying to facilitate the delivery of incubators to the hospital. Doctors, though, want a full evacuation to get every patient out safely. President Joe Biden says that the hospital should be protected. And lastly, Israeli troops are continuing to push further into Gaza, looking for militants and those 240 hostages that were captured October 7th. Hamas saying this afternoon it's now ready to release up to 70 women and children in exchange for a 5-day ceasefire. There's still no word yet as if the Israelis will agree to that request. Simone? Adam?
Yeah, still, Larry, so many moving parts and pieces to this. Thank you. I know that we'll be checking in with you throughout the afternoon and evening. Now let's turn our focus to the attention of the March for Israel that's been playing out here, Simone, this afternoon and late this morning on the National Mall.
That's right, Adam, and it is expected to go on for about the next hour. Our Scott Broom is there, and he's been at the mall since early this morning. Scott, give us a feel for the atmosphere right now, and does the march seem to be winding down at all?
Well, there's a real feeling of seriousness, togetherness, and exuberance this afternoon. The program on the stage is coming close to an end. A lot of people are beginning to move back, walking together, wrapped in Israeli flags, moving towards the Capitol. No official estimates on the size of the crowd today, but participants are claiming they believe they're in the hundreds of thousands. A show of support for Israel, drawing an ocean of people to the National Mall under tight security.
There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Jews, and we have never been able to come together like this in such a powerful way.
My main reason is to talk about bringing the hostages back.
We just feel so badly for the kidnapped people, and we want to stand together.
Washington's Mayor Muriel Bowser called out the D.C. National Guard to help with security on the perimeters, a so-called Level 1 security event. The rally site enclosed by fencing with entry only at controlled security checkpoints with magnetometers.
Well, I was concerned because there are crazy people, but I just knew that they would have it under control.
On the outside, a counter-protest from an ultra-Orthodox Jewish religious group opposed to Israel's secular government. That inflamed emotions. Police intervened in minor skirmishes. A top concern here today, the 400% rise in anti-Semitic incidents as reported by the Anti-Defamation League.
This needs to be a common thing. Anti-Semitism is on the rise in a level we haven't seen since the Holocaust. It's not good. We've seen this before. It's a precursor to things that we don't want to see again.
Just to be able to be in this place and see, wow, there's going to be this many people who are all standing with us, it's empowering.
No significant large-scale counter-protests occurring anywhere near here, and no significant security incidents have been reported today. Reporting live from the National Mall, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
All right, Scott, thank you. Now, thousands of young people were in the crowd at today's March for Israel, including a tight-knit group of college students from the University of Maryland. Our Eric Flack has been with them all day, following their journey from campus to the National Mall. And Flack, many in that group say they were surprised about the atmosphere at the march. In fact, some of them even describing it as joyful. Good evening.
Hey, Simone. Yeah, that's right. I think that none of them maybe expected it to be a somber day, but considering the serious nature of what this rally is all about, the involvement of those hostages still being held, that they just weren't sure what to expect. But when the group stepped off the Metro United behind me, they carried a sense of pride, not just for Israel, but also for Judaism. One by one, University of Maryland students boarded a bus outside of Maryland Hillel, a gathering place for Jewish students on campus to take the first leg of their journey to the National Mall.
And we have to show our support because other people from all over the country are flying in, and we're just right down the street.
More than 300 students signed up for the trek to the March for Israel. This trip to D.C., organized by Maryland Hillel and the campus organization Terps for Israel. The students were ready to show their support for Israel in the Gaza conflict, but also stand up against anti-Semitism.
I think they go hand in hand. I think we are doing it because we have to support Israel, and a huge part of our Jewish identity is supporting Israel. So as much as I'm coming to support Israel, I'm also coming to show the rest of the U.S. and show the U.S. administration that we need to condemn anti-Semitism in all of its forms.
After a short bus ride to the College Park metro station, the group boarded trains heading to the rally, some wrapped in Israeli flags, others in tefillin, offering traditional Jewish prayer. Then stepping off those metro trains, united in song.
Why do you think that young presence is so important?
I think there's definitely been a narrative of a lot of anti-Semitism across college campuses specifically more recently. And I think people are just coming to show that, like, it doesn't affect us. We're standing strong. We're here to stand for Israel.
As they arrived to join their Jewish brothers and sisters, the crowd filled, but not with a sense of dread. It was something else.
Honestly, I thought the mood would be a little bit sad and depressing considering the situation with over 200 hostages in Gaza right now held by Hamas. But I really feel like there's a good energy. Everyone's coming together to be united as a Jewish people and to support Israel and to bring our hostages home.
That's genocide. You cannot commit bad.
Now, the waves of people coming from the rally are still heading toward this Archives metro station. Those Maryland students I spent the day with will get right back on this metro here at Archive, head back to the University of Maryland, starting at that same Maryland Hillel that we all started our day with. I learned today that Hillel is one of the largest of those organizations in the entire nation. Reporting live from the National Mall outside the Archives metro station, Eric Flack, WUSA 9. Simone, back to you.
We just recently saw anti-Semitic messages on UMD's campus. It's good to see the students coming together and supporting each other through all of this. Eric, thank you.
Absolutely.